Somebody needs to come out and shovel that snow, don't they, Bailey? Hmm? Wonder who it's going to be. Probably us. Hello and welcome to the My Wool Mitten podcast. My name is Carrie and I'm coming to you from the middle of the Mitten, Michigan's Lower Peninsula, where I live on a small sheep farm with my family, my old horse Kyle, my adopted dog Bailey, and the cat who adopted me, B-Cat. I have a small flock of sheep and I like to share with you here about my knitting and spinning and my farming as I grow older and have to change my way of doing things. So today in mid-Michigan, we have a mix of whiteout, snow, wind, no rain, I guess. But 2 days before the start of spring, that's the weather we're given. But that's okay. It's not unusual for us here, and I don't have to be anywhere today except for here on the farm, so that's fine. This morning I'm on my way down to do chores, taking you with me, and just thought I'd give you a quick glimpse of my pathetic hay pile, what's left. I do have more spoken for, just have to have the weather cooperate to go and get it. It's either too warm and wet and muddy, or today too cold and windy and blustery. So anyway, today's episode is just going to be a little catch-up vlog, some bits and pieces of things that I've recorded over the last couple of weeks. And so I'm just going to put them together to get it out there. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, also welcome. Thank you for coming back. And if you're here for the sock spin along, there's not going to be a lot about that today, just a catch up of my project, but there is a link in the down bar here on the channel that is to the playlist from last year that has a lot more of the technical details and the process of spinning to knit for socks. We're coming towards the last month, the last official month of doing this spin along, but there's still plenty of time. And of course, it really is an ongoing thing. We always need more hand spun and hand knit socks. So I just wanted to welcome you and remind you about that update down below that playlist to do a catch up. Hope you're keeping your spinning wheel in good shape, your hands in good shape, and enjoying your fiber. So Bailey and I are going to go get the chores done and get back in the house where it's warm. And so we'll talk to you real soon. Let me know in the comments what you're doing, what you're working on, and how you've been. I always enjoy hearing from you. Thanks for being here. Something doesn't quite belong here, does it? What is she doing, Style? Are you supposed to be in the hay feeder? No, I don't think so. Well, I'm excited to bring you up to date on my start of my knitting for my hand spun socks 23. I started the knit on the 1st of March, and I am doing that, knitting each stitch, thinking about my friend Amelia, who is facing some surgery this month and some healing time. And so I told her I was going to cast on for her pattern, and as I'm working this sock, I'm thinking of her and wishing all the best for her. So this pattern is the Knackin, I think it's Knackin sock. And it's based on a mythology, and you really should go check out Amelia's podcast, Amelia in Style, to hear her story of how she came up with this pattern. Now, the pattern is written cuff down with some really neat cuff details and then some interesting color work, but I like to knit toe up socks, and especially if I'm using hand spun yarn and I want to get every bit of yard used that I can. So I just flipped and put the pattern on the bottom of the foot. And you may have heard me say, if you've watched some of my past episodes, that for me the place that I wear out my sock is right below the toe. I think, is that called the pad of your foot? So this is the bottom of a sock. You see I do the pattern like this on the top, and then I just do kind of this checkerboard, and that gives me a little extra cushion and a little extra stability and helps keep this area from wearing through. And I have found that that works very, very well for me. So this was my fiber that I spun that I've talked to you about. It was the Finn alpaca, and then I thought there was a little bit too much alpaca in the roving, so I added some Corriedale wool to it. And so that is what the blue and the blue-gray is. The gray is the bunny toes, which is gray Angora bunny, and the gray in this is from my friend Renee at Tailspin Farm, right down the road from me here in Michigan. So that's what this is. And then my surprise fiber is the white. And I spun an Angora yarn with a little bit of white Corriedale with it to make the color work on Amelia's pattern, because Amelia had gifted me with some beautiful Angora bunny fiber. And so that was my little surprise for that. So the bunny toes, and I cast on and did a spiral toe. I cast on and increased up to 46 stitches on size 3 needles, and then I changed to the size 4 needles, and I did a little checkerboard and changed from the gray bunny toes to the more concentrated blue that was the Finn, Corriedale, and alpaca, and then the white, of course, is the Angora. And so and I have found that I have the 46 stitches total, 24 on the top and 22 on the bottom. And I find that if I have just a couple less stitches on the foot of my sock, it seems to fit a little bit better. So that's what I've been doing. Rookie mistake, when I changed Amelia's pattern over, I wanted them to be a little bit closer, and you can see I actually forgot that this should have been a blue. But rookie mistake, I should have left a column of solid color stitches on the side, just to give it a little bit more balance. But when I thought about it, I wasn't about to rip it back and change that, but I did make a note to myself for next time. So here's the top of the foot, the bottom of the foot, and this has gotten me about an inch from where I'm going to start the heel. I worked them simultaneously. They're still on the size 4 needles, but I will switch to size 3 now. So that's what's going on there. What do you think about those? And I'm already dreaming about fiber that I can spin in March to cast on another pair. But as I said, this is Amelia's pattern, the Nacken sock. I'm probably saying it wrong, based on some Swedish mythology. And I'm knitting this thinking about my friend Amelia and wishing her every good thought for a speedy recovery this month of March. So that's the update on my sock. And I should look up the number of yards and tell you what I ended up with. And I actually have probably 2 more ounces I could blend and spin. But truthfully, I was getting tired of drum carding the fibers together, and I just wanted to cast on. I know that swirl toe looks a little funky, but it fits my foot really well. And I really like that. So what do you think of the socks? I was so excited to show them to you and give you a little bit of detail. In other knitting news, I wanted to show you that I did go ahead and fixed my collar for the Boscular pullover by Marina Skua. I had torn it out, and in my last episode you saw me wearing that collar, and I said I was having a hard time picking up stitches again because of the black. So on this bright sunny day, I sat in the sunshine and with my needles on a tray right in front of me and picked those up. Worked my way down. I did some short row shaping in the back, and I've started the color work. And so now this will be set aside for a while now because I'm trying to finish up my daughter's sweater. Not in any rush, but her sweater has been on the needles since a year in November. So I want to get that done. But I did want to get settled in my mind that this was going to work and get this picked up. And so in no way I'm going to have the sweater finished by the end of Marina's knit along, but I will be ready to continue on with that as need be. And I really think that the black Shetland and the gray Corriedale is going to be so nice together. So I just wanted to bring you a little update on that. So again, this is the Boscular pullover by Marina Skua, and I'm doing it in hand spun Shetland from my Black U style, and then gray Corriedale mill spun, but with some of the gray U's from my flock. Well, I was thinking that it had been a really long time since we've just sat and had a little chat. I'm working on bookwork for the farm today, and so I thought I would take a little break. And I was sitting here with my sock, and I was thinking about the podcast and what I want to get uploaded because it's been a little while. And then I thought, you know, I kind of missed visiting with you guys. So I thought while I'm sitting here working on my sock for the Sock Spin Along 23, I would just stop in and say hello. So this will just be a little interlude and with no set plan. I'm in a different corner. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that I created a new corner, and that's where I'm sitting right now. And so trying to find the best spot for all the light that comes in through these windows. So hopefully that glare is not too bad behind us. This is one of my yarn cupboards. In its former life, it was a china cabinet. And I have some special cards from some special friends, some of you who watch the podcast. And you might recognize some of those if you are watching today. So we got more snow this morning, and the snow is still coming down, and the temperature is hanging right around, well, it's below freezing. And it's a little bit slippery and a little bit windy and a little bit cold. So, and it's a Monday, so I thought, well, it's a good day to do paperwork, right? I started it a couple of weeks ago and then set it aside for a few other things. So the main thing is the sock spin along. I wonder how all of you are doing. We're going to just continue on for a while yet. There are a few other podcasts and channels and Instagram accounts that have started some sock spin alongs, and so maybe you're participating in one of those. And if you are, you can certainly participate in this one too. This is not a prize giveaway or anything. This is just to encourage you to make socks, to spin yarn for socks, and to knit out of that yarn and love those socks however they turn out. So that's what we're doing. And so yeah, but one thing I wanted to show you, and I brought it in here today. It's funny because I had just came across this when I was cleaning out a little basket that I keep mittens and hats and things in the back room by the back door. And then I saw Daki, who many of you are starting to follow now, and I'm so happy for her. Daki and I at Wool in the Forest have been friends for quite a number of years now. And I'm so happy to see her efforts pay off and attention to her channel and to her work growing. So hello, my friend, if you're watching, and usually she does. But on her last podcast, she talked about Elizabeth Zimmermann, and her and I had been chatting about Elizabeth Zimmermann, DMing about Elizabeth Zimmermann and just talking about her a little bit. And Daki showed a cowl that she was making a swatch out of. And so I want to show you something from several years ago. I don't know how many years ago now. I think this is on Ravelry. I'll have to go back and look. But I also did a cowl for a swatch for a sweater quite a number of years ago. And it was a year that I spent knitting projects out of the Knitter's Almanac book. My cowl is not quite as fancy as Daki's. Mine's pretty plain, but I'm going to hold it up and show you now. Hopefully you're seeing that. And this is from a cabled cardigan that's, I think it might be the January. Is it the January project? But this is out of wool yarn, but it's out of commercial yarn. And so this was my swatch for the Fishtrap Aran sweater, I think is what it's called. This has seen a lot of use over the years. I never did make the sweater. I might now. I'm a little bit more adventurous knitter. I guess I've always been an adventurous knitter, but more of a sweater knitter now. But so I just took the cable pattern, made it into a cowl. Fits perfectly. So I just wanted to share that. I smiled, Docky, when you shared yours on your last episode of your podcast. So if you don't already, please go and follow Wool in the Forest. And I think you'll be happy that you did. She's on Instagram and on YouTube here. I believe there's a blog or a website. And there's also Patreon. So anyway, I wanted to show that. This was my little ram shelter that I built. And look how well it's working. There are the two boys in there. Trace and Truman. They've got plenty of room. It stays pretty dry. And I'm really pleased with it. You might remember, and I'll put a link to the episode where I talked about doing this project. What do you think, huh? Tell the folks that you have a vet appointment next week. Check your teeth. Make sure you're good and healthy. Yeah. Starting to shed a little bit, aren't you?